Hey guys, it's the Green Crayon here. Quick disclaimer before I start. I am ill and you can probably hear it. I don't know how much I'm going to be able to record before my throat gives out on me, but I had some spare time, so I thought I would give it a go. So if my voice changes about halfway through, that's what's happened. The first set of nails that I'm going to be doing is for National Storytelling Week, which does run into February. It's from the 30th of January to the 6th of February, but I think sharing stories, whether they are real or whether they're something that you've thought up, is really important, and I've grown up on reading and watching movies and things like that. You know, stories are a big part of everybody's life, whether they are made up or whether they are something that actually happened to someone. So I think this is a very important cause to pick. The first thing that I'm doing is pretty simple and doesn't really require you to know what brands I used or anything like that. I'm just using a base coat and some white nail varnish. But if you want to know, I'm using Barry M's all-in-one top and base coat, and I'm using Claire's tip whitener, which doesn't have the greatest brush shape to do your nails, as you can see, as I'm completely messing this up. But I will be keeping a brush from something else and using it in that nail varnish because I think it's a very nice white. And I'm using Nails Ink top coat in Caviar. It does have a slight tint to it, and I kind of like that because we're going to be making pages, and pages aren't like a complete white, they're always like a little bit of an off-white. And I'm also going to take this opportunity to explain to you the box. And rather than explaining to you with words, I'm going to reference you to my Halloween nail art video, which I did back in October, and then you'll understand why I need the box. This is my stay in frame box. And then I'm just pouring a little bit of rubbing alcohol into an old lid. And then this is where it starts to get tricky. You need a newspaper, and now it has to be a newspaper because the ink comes off a lot easier in newspaper. It doesn't work on the magazine, I tried. And then you need to hold the newspaper over your nails, but you need to have a bit that's got writing on it. And then you're going to take a cotton stick, Q stick, you know what I mean, and use the rubbing alcohol to rub the rubbing alcohol over the top of the newspaper and hold it on your nail for a couple of seconds. Then you're going to slowly peel it up, and hopefully the letters should have transferred onto your nail. And then I'm just going over again with the same Caviar top coat that I used before. Now we are using one of those nail detailing pens in black, and we're going to be drawing speech bubbles on it. You could just do the basic sort of like comic book style speech bubbles. You can mix it up a bit if you want. If you don't think you can do this very well, then try doing this in acrylic paint, because then you can just scratch off the mistakes with a cocktail stick, but only if you put a top coat on before. But I think it's just easier to use one of these. Then we're just going to take some acetone and clean up those mistakes like they never happened. And then just go over with one final Caviar top coat and we're done. I really like these, and I think I'm going to be using them for other things. I really like the sort of writing effect, and I think it's really easy to do if you've got some rubbing alcohol. So here's what it looked like in the end, and if anyone's interested, that's the Welcome Tonight veil book I am posing on. There is absolutely no point to this footage. I just like watching myself take my nail varnish off really quickly, so you're just going to have to deal with it. I'm sorry. It also shows that I do it all in the same day, and that's dedication. But probably not the greatest idea for my fingers or the lighting or for anyone involved, really. You don't need to see me putting a base coat on. I'm using the same one as before. I put a base coat on. And then I'm using Nails Ink in the colour The Thames. I don't know if they make this anymore because I'm looking at the bottle now and it's one of their old bottles. But if they do, it's a very nice colour. And if they don't, just use grey. You're probably wondering why I'm using grey, and that's because it is going to be the base of my Blood Donor Month nails. I think it's really important to donate blood, and my dad does it all the time. I don't do it because I have a blood phobia and I'm terrified of needles, and I'm also kind of anemic. It's a long story, but basically I'm not the greatest person in the world to do it. But I think if you are able to do it, it is definitely something which you should do. And I think if you've been given blood at any point and you can, you should give blood to someone else as well. Like I've always said, if I ever have to get blood for whatever reason, then I would give blood as well. And then we are going over with a top coat. You don't particularly have to do this, but if you like me and you like things to be shiny and not full of mistakes, then use a top coat. And then we're using one of those nail pens again, but in red. As you can tell, I kind of like these things, but you can just use a paintbrush if you don't have one. Like, this one isn't actually lined, so it might just be easier to use a paintbrush. But we're going to be doing blood drips from the top. Try not to make it too runny. Make sure it's like gloopy, because blood's kind of gloopy. I'm just gonna stop. But yeah, just look at other pictures of people doing this nails. Like everyone did it at Halloween. And then for your accent nail, which isn't really an accent, it's just a different nail. We're going to be doing the blood donor ribbon, which is of course red. This is really easy to do, but remember that you're doing it upside down from where you're painting it, so just make sure that you get it the right way around. And then just slap on a top coat and we're done. How easy was that, guys? Oh, and to clean it up as well. Don't forget to clean it up. Okay, so this picture is awful, but as you can tell, it was dark, and you get the idea. I was gonna say as well, if any of you guys do this, do any of these, I'd really appreciate it if you post it on Instagram and tag it like the crayons. Yeah, tag it the crayon box. Tag it the crayon box, and I'll find it then. But like, I wanna see if anyone actually does these nails. Taking off my nail varnish montage. It's not even a montage. Why am I singing? Okay, so these nails are for Human Trafficking Awareness Month, but we're going to do a gradient, so you're going to have to bear with me. This might get confusing. If you've done this before, then this is going to be fine. But if you don't know how to do this, then, okay, listen to this. Take a makeup sponge, preferably a square one, but if you really have to use a circle one, then I guess it's not much of a problem. And draw a line of white nail varnish along the bottom. I'm just using Claire's white nail varnish, but you can get white nail varnish pretty much anywhere. It doesn't matter which one you use. I'm using Yves Saint Laurent's blue nail varnish, and it doesn't seem to have a name. I think it was just like a one-off thing, but any sort of blue nail varnish will do. And then you sponge it on your nail with the white at the top and the blue at the bottom. And then you will keep doing this until it becomes opaque. More thin layers are better than a few thicker layers, and it might look really minging and it will go everywhere, but when you put the top coat on, it'll look fine, trust me. We're going to do this on all of our fingers except the middle one, or whichever one you pick for your accent nail, which just happens to be my middle one in this case. And then you should change your sponge, but I'm lazy, so I'm not going to. And the nail varnish is dried anyway, so it's fine. I'm using the Thames by Nails Ink again. I'm going to use that instead of the blue for my middle nail. And then you can clean up now, you can clean up later, but you cannot leave your nails looking like that. Unless you are using something like Simply Peel or any sort of like peel off latex barrier. Because you need to take that acetone and just wash it all off and just forget that that was ever there. I don't know why I keep recording myself saying this. I could just use old footage, but put on another top coat. Why is this out of focus? Oh my god, I'm so sorry. I went through like the whole point of putting a box there so that I wouldn't have a repeat of the Halloween video. And look what's happening. It's just happening all over again. I'm just gonna have to describe what I'm doing. I'm using the same blue that I used for my gradient. Again, this is Yves Saint Laurent, but it doesn't matter what you use, as long as it's the same one, to draw the ribbon on all of the fingers with the blue gradient on it. Also, a general tip as well, if you're painting with a paintbrush, pull the nail varnish that you're using into some sort of like plastic palette thing. I'm using the lid of a water bottle, just so you don't have to try and like stick the paintbrush in the bottle every time. It's just going to be awkward if you have to do that. And then we're going to draw a lock on this finger, and you're probably thinking, Amy, why are we drawing a lock? That makes no sense. Well, it's because when I looked up human trafficking, a lot of the symbology for it was like breaking chains and like breaking free of things, so I thought like an open lock would work, because like it's like breaking free of like it made sense in my head. Okay, this is easier to do with like one of those pen things, and it's quite hard to draw, not gonna lie, and I tried to put a little keyhole in it at first, but I just gave up in the end. If you do it as like a square and then do like an arch over it, it's easier if you think of it as like two separate shapes, but yeah, just good luck really. I can't freehand paint. Okay, so I need to stop at this hand pose because it just doesn't work. You can't see what I'm doing, but this is the finished result. And that is all three of my designs, guys. If you check me out on Instagram at voldycat7, I post nail things pretty much like every 3 days. I change my nails all the time, and I'll be posting these once a month. I already have the February video filmed. I just need to edit it, and hopefully by the time this goes up, I'll have March filmed as well. So things should definitely be going up once a month. If you have any suggestions or requests for future months, then let me know. As long as I haven't filmed it yet, then I will give it a shot. Let me know what you think down in the comments. Give a like if you like this video, obviously, and subscribe if you really liked this video. Yeah, I think that's all. I hope this works for you, and good luck, guys. Bye.